AI is on a spectrum. And at one end, we have the technologies that give us personal productivity. These are your chatbots, your AI assistants, co-pilots, vibe coding, helping you to brainstorm, helping you to summarize things, helping you to, do your own stuff. But it's really one person sitting down talking to the AI via the chat interface. And then as you move up the scale, then we're starting to see a huge amount of return on investment from business communications. This is when you're using AI to produce marketing materials, sales materials, customer support interactions, but also the various reports and summarizing meetings, extracting transcripts from meetings and extracting actions and all that kind of thing. But it's still communications oriented, and it's not where I believe the huge return on investment comes from, because that's right up here at the end where you're using AI for your business operations. And to use AI for business operations, you're talking about exploiting the technology of RAG and the technology of agents. So this is not where anybody is sitting down typing anything in to a chatbot window. This is sitting in the background and it sees transactions happening and it then knows what to do. But it is using knowledge that you've given it, not the information that it has been trained on in the past. It's using your corporate knowledge base. And because they're agents, they're independent, they're asynchronous, they're autonomous, they sit there and they're working all the time. So what I'm saying is you get a return on investment here, you get a return on investment there that's probably much bigger, but the real big return on investment that we're going to see in the future, but haven't quite seen it yet, are these business operations AI agents. And I'm calling them expert systems because they are replacing expertise that's currently in the heads of humans. So if we were to take a Venn diagram of all the knowledge workers and their skills and ask how many people understand standard operating procedures, I would say that a large proportion of the managers out there fully understand their business operations. And to one extent or another, they have the expertise in creating and managing and improving standard operating procedures. The other thing I find is there's a huge overlap between them and people who are able to do spreadsheets. A significant number of the managers that I'm dealing with are both experts in SOPs and in using spreadsheets to create models, to create automations, and to take these standard operating procedures and to some extent automate them using spreadsheets. I would also include in this subset people who have taken their spreadsheet capabilities and migrated over to no code. But right now, the number of people who would have skills in developing and deploying AI inside this operations area here. So what I'm saying is where these two overlap, the intersection of the two is where the big opportunity is. But right now, the number of people who are able to do that are fairly limited. But I would say that the number of people who are doing knowledge management, they probably don't call it that, but they're producing the documentation that explains how things should be done, how our processes work, what our training materials are, what our policies and procedures are. So that's a big set. And again, the overlap among these three is quite large. But what I contend is the case is that if you develop a way of using the technology of spreadsheets and no code as the mechanism by which you develop your AI agents, then suddenly you extend the number of people who are able to do this. Because if they can build their AI agents using the skills they already have from doing spreadsheets and no code, then you expand this overlap significantly. And this is where the return on investment comes from. This is where we go, whoa, huge, big return on investment. If we can train those knowledge workers who have these three skills to also exploit them and produce AI agents. And I've shown this before where I'm saying, okay, so how do we get these skills and pull them together to make this come about? And so what we're saying is that we already have a set of skills around building and deploying business process management. And a key part of the training that I'm going through with these people is to turn that into a more formal process, taking the actual business process management techniques and tools and helping them to document their business processes more specifically. Because the better you can document your standard operating procedures, the better you'll be able to deploy AI and exploit AI in doing that. And then the other set of skills that people have is they've been using spreadsheets to do a certain amount of automation, which means that they either already have started moving over to no code or they could easily make the change over to no code. And they can use AI to help them produce no code implementations of the apps and no code implementations of their SOPs, because all of the no code tools now have a high level of AI engagement in there so that you can go into Airtable and explain what your business process is, and it will go and generate the database. You can do the same thing in several other tools. I suppose the one that's falling behind there is Coda. Um, and so that means that we have the three pillars here. People who know how to do this know about data, and they need to be trained even more on that. So a key part of the training is how do you structure your data for maximum effectiveness? Rows and columns are fine, but turning them into tables and having relationships between them and understanding relational database is a key part of that. So um, again, people who understand spreadsheets and have moved into no code have a very good grasp of how to implement business logic using formulas. So I'm saying you don't have to learn how to program in Python or you don't have to learn JavaScript. Your ability to represent your logic in the form of formulas is enough to be able to build your automations and make them work. And then somewhat to a lesser extent, but still there among people who are experts, the whiz kids in the spreadsheet world understand how to build user interfaces, what information to present to users, what information they need users to input and to update. They may be using forms and then pulling those together to produce workflows. But again, this is a formal part of the training process that's needed if we're going to take these knowledge workers who already have these skills and beef up those skills so that they can start to operate in a no code, in a AI agentic environment. And then the other thing that a lot of them have, as I said, they probably don't know it as knowledge management, but they are already taking the information that's needed to drive these business processes. And whether it's for training users or whether it's for passing your audits, knowledge management is actually something people are doing. And the result of your knowledge management is you have a set of documents, the training manuals, the policies, the guidelines, the checklists. And so that just leaves the bit at the top here, which is the pinnacle of it all, which is how you build your AI agents using retrieval augmented generative AI and create these automated agents that will then take you to the point where you can start to replace human experts with AI agents. So, as I said, most people in the management space already would say, yes, I understand this bit. Yes, I know how to do that. I have these skills here. And yes, I'm able to do those. And although they don't have a formal name for it, most of the managers I'm working with are well skilled in that space. This is the part where a lot of managers would say, I don't know how to do that. But my contention is that what you know about spreadsheets can be used to create agents using the framework that I've developed. So I will be able to teach you to create agents using, oh, using the skills you already have for building these automations and using knowledge management. And so the key concept that is emerging from all of this is that the world you live in is divided into, sorry, I'm new to this tool, so it's driving me bonkers. Down at the bottom of this sort of pyramid, you've got the whole concept of data. So raw data is your numbers, your tables, your sheets, your transactions, basic data. And most managers have a very good understanding of what the data is and how to use it, and how to organize it, and how to manipulate it. The next level up is information. And it's quite distinct from the data. Information is a richer, more processed form of the data. It's based on the data, but it's more for human consumption. And that's where you have your documents, your dashboards, messaging, slides and charts and so on. And only now are we getting to the point where AI can actually help us to manipulate this stuff. Whereas before, IT could handle data, but information was left in the realm of knowledge workers and humans. We're now reaching the point where we can produce this stuff, we can analyze it, we can process it, and we can use it to automate our business processes. That still leaves us with a new, distinct concept in IT, which is knowledge. Knowledge is information that's used to tell you how to do things. And that's the distinction. So it's our policies, our procedures, it's the how-to docs and the training manuals, the guidelines, the checklists, the course materials. So now, because we're experienced at taking a certain amount of this information and wrapping it up in the form of knowledge to show people how to do things, managers need to understand that that's the very same thing they need to do in the AI realm. Is you've got to gather your guidelines for how to do things and curate that, manage that, keep it up to date, probably change its format a bit so it's a lot more digestible to the AI systems we've got. And with this knowledge, you're able to then move into what I call the area of expertise, which is where you are taking knowledge, information, data, and your processes and turning them into artificial AI experts. So you're building expert systems, and expertise is where we bring in prompts. So if you just have knowledge but no prompts, it's just going to sit there. But if you have the ability to create the right prompts that bring in the right knowledge and put those into agentic workflows, now suddenly, kaboom, we're in that space that I was talking about, where you are able to move into this space here where you are generating the maximum return on investment.